O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. Works Power and Garden Tools. Toyota, let's go places. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. Big Green Egg, the most popular and most versatile ceramic grill. Huff Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Year One, classic car parts for American muscle cars. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait. Furminator, the best food plot implement on earth. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and State Parks.
From Black Powder headquarters and the Bojangled studio at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia mountains, it's time for O'Neill Outside. For anything in the outdoors, this is your source. Listen in and call the show with your comments or questions. And now, here's O'Neill.
Good morning, boys and girls. Yes, indeed, an unused Saturday morning from the middle of North Georgia and the Bojangled studio. This is Works Radio, and I'm glad you're joining us. It's a brand new, unused Saturday morning. I hope you'll make the next couple of hours part of our conversation. It's my pleasure to invite you to watch the program called O'Neill Outside Television. It's on the VOD networks and Carbon TV and Waypoint TV and Fox regional networks and YouTube. Well, it goes on and on and on, disgustingly. And you can also watch O'Neill Outside at o'neilloutside.com. Glad you're joining us this morning. What a refreshing idea. No politics. No. We're talking outdoors, fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, with your family and your friends, and we will get something out of this program, I hope. I plan to dish out a lot of stuff. I hope you're listening. Before I get to anything else, reminding local folks here in the area of Jasper, Georgia, that there are quite a collection of fish and game mounts and specimens at Appalachian Gun and Pawn, or Appalachian Gun and Range, that is, in Jasper, Georgia. I'm getting rid of all this stuff. I've got way too much, so you can take a look at it there. So we'll have the radio prize package, the Medal of Honor tribute. We'll have the True Turn tackle tips, and, of course, your calls. Yes, indeed. 404-872-0750. 404-872-0750, or outside the Atlanta calling area and nationwide on the SB Nation radio network, O'Neill Outside at 800-972-8255. I hope you'll join us. We have a lot of fabulous things to talk about. Have you talked to anyone this week about the outdoors and your plans to go fishing, your plans to go camping? Are you getting ready for the deer season? Now's the time. We'll talk about those things today, plus your proper etiquette at the shooting range. We have a lot of things to talk about, and I hope you'll join us. This is O'Neill with Works Radio, and I guarantee you we'll be back. It's my pleasure to remind you that this program is brought to you every Saturday by Works Tools, Stripling's General Store, Tough Shed, Snellville Heating and Air, Rocco's Pub, the Department of Natural Resources in Georgia, True Turn Hooks, Roadrunner Lures, Arctic Ice Freezer Packs, O'Neill's Podcast, Fisher's Choice Baits, Gin Spring Generators, and Rita Critter. Well, that was one of the best things we ever did when we moved here. We got a service called Rita Critter. It's quite frankly not fair. We moved into the woods, but then we had to get rid of all the mice and squirrels and everything. We had a flying squirrel nest in the attic. Interesting. Those little critters are really industrious. Well, anyway, it's getting to be summertime. Kids are out of school. Fishing is good. Fishing is great, as a matter of fact. I know I was at Stripling's this week. I stopped by there to pick up some very special things. Stripling's is an old general store. You don't walk in and everything's already packaged. You go to the meat counter and say, I want those 4 pork chops right there, and I want that cube steak right there, and I'll take some of those shrimp right there. That's what Stripling's is. So I went there and picked up, and they cut it and prepare it for you. It's a pleasure. And I don't know how I got started on that, but nevertheless, it's summertime. The school's out, kids are available, but it's transition time now from springtime. Oh, I know. I ran into some guys there that watched the show, and they were telling me, O'Neill, have you been to so-and-so lake this week? I said, no, I hadn't. I've been working. Hey, fishing is fabulous. It's making that change from springtime into summer, into summertime. So I thought we'd handle those things today, if you like, to make that change from whether it's a pond, a major reservoir, a mountain creek, a mountain stream for trout. Let's talk about that some today, if you like. 4:14 after the hour, and this is Works Radio. So let's see if we've got the calls here right now, so we'll clear it. And yeah, yes, we do. So I tell you what, it's 14 after the hour. Let's get some of these calls headed our way. First of all, let's talk to John. John is calling from Lilburn. Good morning, John. It's O'Neill. You're on the air.
Hey, O'Neill. How you doing, buddy?
Lovely.
Well, first and foremost, I think we all need to take our hats off and remember that today is June 6th, which is D-Day.
Yes.
If I remember my history correctly.
That is correct.
We need to take a moment and thank those men that stormed those beaches.
Indeed.
Back in
It's a wonderful history lesson, and it's a scary history lesson.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
There, yes.
Well, let me tell you two good things that's going
Okay.
on. I talked to you not too long ago and complained that I had not been fishing for a while.
Uh-huh.
And I've got Parkinson's, and it's kind of hard for me to get around. But I've got a buddy that runs a bass angling little jobber out of is it Kiwi Island? Kiwi up in
Yes.
in Hartwell.
Yes. Well, it's above Hartwell, yeah.
Above Hartwell, that area there. Anyway, but he fishes out of a pontoon boat.
Uh-huh.
So he's going to take me up there Thursday. And I've looked up there, the Bass Farmer's Almanac and the Bass Angler's Almanac and everything I could find. And they said that this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are the best 3 days of this month to go bass fishing.
Oh, yeah.
And
The moon phase clock will help you with that, yes.
Mm-hmm. And they said the afternoon's going to be real good, and that's where I'm going. So
Good.
I'm hoping to get on some good bass. That'd be a lot of fun. And the other thing I want to bring up is something I have enjoyed. There has been a mother hen turkey has set up a nest a couple of years ago. I guess it's the same one. And I have listened to her cluck for the past 2 years.
Uh-huh.
She's finally, this year, she had a chick.
Okay.
And I can sit and listen to them on my deck and listen to every once in a while that chick can get loose. And I can hear Mama, barking at her and doing that.
Yeah, calling her in, huh?
And they hear the little chick go back at her, and it's the funniest thing. And my wife can just sit there and listen to it. But, few people get the opportunity to listen to turkey this time of year because they're not out in the woods looking for turkey. They're starting to go fishing,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just want to share that with you that, God bless our brothers that stormed those beaches that day. And on the good side, I'm looking forward to good fishing this week. And, like you say, if you ain't got time, what does he say about if you ain't got time to take somebody with you?
You're too busy.
You don't have enough time, or whatever you're saying is, I agree with it. But I'm really looking forward to it, and God bless you. I enjoy your show.
Hey, listen, I thank you for calling and the compliments, and I'll be thinking about you sitting on the porch listening to the turkeys.
And I'll call you next week and let you know how we did.
Oh, please do that. I'd like to know. Yeah, at Kiowee. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I'd appreciate the call. Good deal. Hey, there you are. We're off to a good start, and let's talk to Don, and of course Don is calling from
Ocean Isle, North Carolina.
Thought I'd lost you there for a second, pal. Good morning.
I used to be so lucky. O'Neill, we got a flounder tournament coming up over here. It's the Shallow Point Fishing Flounder Tournament. It's going on 38 years, I believe it is.
Oh, my goodness.
Last year, after the tournament, they closed the flounder fishing for the coast of North Carolina. I'll put a moratorium on. And this year, they're lifting the moratorium in August so they can have the tournament. I guess they're doing that so they can have the tournament in September this year.
Okay.
But we're not seeing a lot of flounder as a result of the moratorium.
Oh.
That may not be the problem. There's flounder here, but they're not as many as you'd think after the pressure's been taken off for a year. So we may have some other kind of problem other than the hook and line people catching all the fish. So,
yeah.
Yep.
I remember
But
the.
it's
a
friend of mine. I fished with him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying. I remember the flounder you sent for me over there. That was some good eating. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, that's that food for the table fare. The flounder is probably as good as there is.
Yes, indeed.
In the close in fish on the coast. But a friend of mine, he was probably one of the best flounder fishermen I've ever been with. He could wear me out flounder fishing, but we got offshore and I returned the favor on grouper. So.
Okay.
I caught eight grouper one time before he ever caught one. You could fry an egg on top of his head by the end of that eighth fish. But we're looking forward for the tournament, and we'll have, and once they catch all the fish that's in the tournament, then the Shriners are doing it now, and and they cook the fresh fish, and that's hard to beat.
Well, what a delightful day coming up.
It is that, and I cooked in it for many years, and when it was with the fire department, and now they turned it over to the Shriner.
Oh boy, in good hands. Don, have a great weekend, pal.
It is in good hands, and looking forward to the fishing season this year.
Oh boy. Well, say hello to Ross for me, and you have a good, safe weekend, and plan some great trips. I know you have plenty of them planned.
We do that.
All right, my good friend. Stay safe.
Thank you much. Enjoy your show.
Thank you a lot. I appreciate you taking the time to call, sir. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside and Works Radio, and I'm drinking coffee, and I'll be back. Before we get to some meaningful conversations about summertime fishing, and I got a whole list of recommendations that I would like to share with you and listen to what you say, two things. Number one, our telephone number, should you like to be involved in the program, have questions, statements, or lessons for O'Neill. 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta area and outside the Atlanta area on the Sports Broadcast Network and the wide-ranging signal of WSB 750 AM and 95.5 FM. The number is 800-972-8255, 800-972-8255. So, more people are fishing this time of the year, of course, than hunting. But here is what some of the things that you might keep in mind for next year's deer season, especially if you are the club manager, the land manager. There are things that you can do now that I might remind you of, whereby you can make the preparation for the whitetail season more pleasing, more successful, less, because if you do these things now, which I'll get to in a moment, pardon me, if you do some of these things now, then during the deer season you can hunt. That's what the deer season is. So, here's a couple of suggestions. Now is the time, in between fishing trips, for you to go and repair and maintain your tree stands. Remember, most of the accidents, most of the deaths, most of the injuries come during deer season, not from rifle maintenance or lack of it or poor shooting. It comes from falling out of the deer stand because it's not prepared. Another thing you should do, here's a great idea. Now, my son-in-law has his deer stands and feeding stations and food plots close to a river. His property backs up to the river. If you don't have that sort of thing, and it really works for him, if you don't have that sort of thing, think about putting in a water hole. That will multiply the number of visits that you have from the white-tailed deer into the areas where you hunt. Put in a water hole. Okay? Take soil samples for your food plots. You can waste lots of money by planting your food plots in areas that need lime, they need other fertilizers. Take a soil sample. Now is the time for you to plant your springtime food plots. Because when the deer season begins, throughout the summer and the deer season, you want them flourishing. They should be they should be complete. So now is the time for you to put in food plots. Trail cameras? Put in trail cameras via your experience from last season. Which were the ones that were the most productive? If you don't put them in now, at least pick where they go and you can put them in later. I got to tell you, it's just as much fun to look at the trail cams now as it is during the deer season. Learn the land. As you've got new members in the club, you've got new members that pay their money, members that help own the land, members that they're starting to bring their teenage sons or less to, or ladies too, to the food. Learn the lay of the land. Know that there's a creek there, that there's a high point in this direction, there's a pine ridge in that section. This lowland spot right here is where all the acorns will fall. If you know those things, you can be a better hunter. And then lastly, make sure that you know and post to all the members the land rules. Remember, I've always said that the great thing about the outdoors for a youngster is there is no guy in white pants and a black and white striped shirt or a guy with a chest protector to understand that you follow the rules. In the outdoors, you're on your own. Know what the laws are and what the rules are for the property you will be using. It's a great idea. Okay, let's see. I've got some time to do this right here. Who's up next? Let's talk to Jason, calling from Marietta. Good morning, Jason. It's O'Neill. Welcome to the program. Hello, Jason.
How are you, bud?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. What's going on with you?
Oh, not a whole lot. Hey, I had a quick question, real quick.
Okay.
What is the difference? I guess what would the advantage be? The difference in buying and going fishing with just a depth finder compared to spending all those big bucks on a brand new shiny glitter finished bass boat and all that, as far as
Well, everybody has their preferences.
That was it, really.
I can only tell you that my experience is when I was much heavier into television, I had a bass boat and I had a 21-foot Nitro, and I also had a 16-foot John boat with a 9 horsepower. I caught more fish out of that John boat than I did the Nitro. You don't ride around as much.
Okay.
Hey, I've caught plenty of fish.
It doesn't seem like it's as much fun.
Well, that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal,
Yeah, I was about to say, it seems like a lot of the fun would be opening up one of those Nitro boats compared to, the little 15-horse Evinrude I'm dealing with. But all right, I just wanted to know. Thanks for all you do, bud. I've got to run.
Okay. Hey, if you're going fishing this weekend, good luck, pal, and stay in touch. I appreciate your calls. There you are. Let's go to Johnny in Marietta at 331. Let's go to Johnny. There he is right there. Good morning, Johnny. There, you're on O'Neill Outside. Welcome. Do we have
Johnny, me?
Yeah, Johnny. How are you?
This is Johnny from pretty good, you said, sir? I'm here. Well, this is Johnny from Alpharetta, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Anyhow, I just going to call and tell you, I enjoy listening to your show, and I met you a couple times, a few deer expos here and there.
Good.
And I enjoy your company. But my main question is this here. I've been keeping up with I don't know if it's a mad cow disease, mad deer disease. They just stumble around in the woods and fall against trees. And I took keep a record of it. And so far, in Tennessee, there's 200 reported cases of it.
Oh.
And I was wondering if it affects the meat or what. Because I'm an avid deer hunter and eater. Matter of fact, I'm going to have deer for breakfast this morning.
Oh, yeah. Well, me too.
And I was just wondering.
I think you're talking about the hemorrhagic disease. And my
brain disease.
That's right. I would be fearful of that, and do just a little bit of research. My understanding is, and I'm no scientist, my understanding is that it's good. It's just fine to eat the venison from that animal, as long as it's cooked properly, like anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But don't take my word for it, okay? I'm no scientist.
I was just trying to do the research in it. And I hate to give up my venison, I was raised on it.
Absolutely, I understand.
But I was wondering if it affected me or whatever, because
I don't.
There's one way to look for it.
Yes.
What about this deer leukemia? Is it in their lungs?
Yes.
When you gut them, they got little blisters all on the inside of the rib cage.
Right.
What about that?
I don't know what that is. Again, however, don't take my word for it.
It's a bovine leukemia is what it is. It comes from cows. I've read that much about it.
Yeah.
It's out north. It's mainly out north where the cows and ranches and are. And it's like a bovine leukemia, but it's affecting the deer herd out west.
I understand that.
I kind of keep up with the stuff, because I like to be an avid hunter and do my part.
Well, let me comment here that the consumption of the grilling and the consumption of whether it's be fish, fowl, or wild boar or deer and venison, that to me is the completion of the hunt.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And so I'm proud that you're sticking with it.
Yes. What is the recommended temperature? I cook it like I cook it. I like it about medium rare. Most people, want to burn it. But what is your favorite preference of the temperature? Okay.
About 100.
I got a green egg. I got a green egg too.
Oh, do you? Okay. I would say like 160 degrees internal temperature. I would tell you that most people overcook their white-tailed deer, their venison, because they're afraid of it.
I agree with you.
But you can cook it a lot less and still be safe.
160. To me, 160 would be like a piece of shoe leather.
That's the internal temperature. And on the egg, you can manage that, of course. I'm glad you got an egg. That's the ultimate cooking experience, is a big green egg.
Yes, sir. I swear by it.
And I
watch you cook on one every time I get. I watch it on TV.
I spoke to the people at Big Green Egg this week, and they can barely keep up with production. They're great. They're selling so many of them.
Oh, yeah. I had a big old fine smoker grill, big enough you can lay half a hog on it. And a big old firebox on the side. I bought this green egg. And I gave it to my brother.
Oh, boy. Good for you. Well, I'm glad he's enjoying that, but you have the best one, the Big Green Egg. Hey, man, thanks for calling. Good questions. Hey, do your little research and call me back, will you?
Yes, sir, I will, and enjoy talking to you, and you have a good day.
You bet. You too. Good weekend coming up for you.
Well,
there you are. All right, we need to go to a break, and John, I'll get to you when we get back. This is O'Neill with Works Radio, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. The SB Nation from Seattle to L.A., Maine to Florida. This is Works Radio, the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the country. And we'll be back. I have some coffee to drink. It's 40 minutes after the hour, and it's my pleasure to invite you to tune in. You may find this interesting at Facebook and Carbon TV, Waypoint TV, the Hunt Channel, Gone TV, Outdoor Action TV, Destination Go, YouTube, YouTube TV, and YouTube Premium. You can, I think it's hopeful, you can watch this radio show televised. It's kind of scary, really, isn't it? Yes, this radio show is televised on all those networks in the form of a podcast. And you can watch the show if you are a frequent listener. You may find it interesting. Right now, we always enjoy hearing from John from the Catskills in New York. Good morning, John.
Yes, good morning from the Catskill Mountains.
Yes, indeed.
You say it's a brand new unused Saturday morning, and last week after I listened to your show, I took a walk up the mountain and came across the first fawn I seen this year.
Okay.
Laying there sleeping, and I took some photographs and went on my way. Now, normally you tell everybody in your audience to leave everything alone, the little critters. I haven't heard you say it yet this year.
Just hadn't gotten to it, but you did the right thing. If you see a fawn that appears to be alone, it's not likely that she is. Mama's close by. So leave it alone. We do have a problem with the increase in coyotes, that the coyotes are decimating some of the fawn population. But yes, you did the right thing. A few photos, leave the fawn alone. That was the correct action. Mama was close by.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Even though I didn't see her, I know she always is. I got a couple stories here. I'm retired now, but several years ago when I was on the way to work, I noticed when I was driving through a village, I had to stop the car and back up. It was a little screech owl.
Oh.
An owlet, actually, just out of the nest. Apparently, it was clutching a little fish. I'd never seen that before. And I looked over the bank. There was a little creek there. Apparently, it must have caught a fish in the little creek and flew up out there and got hit by a car.
Oh.
And, he was pretty not good shapes, but I picked him up and put him in the brush. But, again, I left him to his own fate.
Best thing.
I know how, yeah. But have you ever heard of a screech owl catching a fish?
I know that I hear screech owls around streams and lakes, but no, I weren't aware that they were fishermen.
No, me neither. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, people hear screech owls. Most of the time, they'll be surprised the fact that he's so small.
Yep.
He's not a big guy at all.
No. Now, I know the owlets are coming out, but the red-tailed hawk, which we have up here, they're just still nesting right now. And many years ago, I set up a blind in a white birch tree. Normally, they nest way tall up in the tree, and you can't get near them, but there was a nearby tree, so I set up a blind to photograph them. And I come back home, and I took a break, and I went out in the woods. I was sitting out in the woods, and don't you know, a red-tailed hawk laying in a tree just below me.
Oh.
So I got my binoculars up, and I was watching it. He was standing on a squirrel nest. And all of a sudden, he started lifting the twigs and everything off the squirrel nest. And before I knew it, he was flying down with a young squirrel in his talons.
Oh, man.
Either he reached in there or the squirrel came out. But and I read later, a lot of things I see, and then I read about it later, that they'll strike at squirrel nests to flush out the squirrels.
Yes.
Well, he did. He got himself a young squirrel.
Oh, how about
I couldn't
that?
believe it.
Well, what an experience.
Yeah. You just never know what you're going to see in the woods. Just one more thing, O'Neill.
Sure.
For us, over the years, if you shot a turkey in a spot, go back to the same spot next year.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It just works out for us.
Well,
I'm just throwing that.
Well, you know,
that out.
If it worked prior to a season, the next season, the lay of the land, the absence of predators, the food source is good one year, it's good the next year, and it's still good the next year. There's no reason to think they will not be there. You know,
Right.
Turkeys will migrate a little bit as a result of predators. But you have to remember, too, the turkeys roost in the trees. So other than the nesting time, they are not very vulnerable to predation. So that's a very, very good point. I tell you what, if you wouldn't mind, I would love to see some of your wildlife photos, and you can visit my website and send them to me.
Yep.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to see that. People don't realize the effort involved for really good wildlife, the effort and the patience to get good wildlife
Just
photos.
one point, that red-tailed hawk nest was 53 feet up in a tree, and one day I spent 11 hours up in there.
Oh, did you? Well, see, I'd love to see the photos of that. I would really love to see that.
Yep.
We'll put them on the website.
Right.
Well, what have you got planned for this weekend?
I'm still working, even though turkey season over, I'm photographing turkeys. I'm mainly dust bathing right now, they are, and I'm trying to perfect the photographs of them dust bathing. I found where they're dust bathing. I'm setting up on that.
Okay. Well, now see, there's another indication that the property, the land, wherever it is you're visiting, is a good spot.
Yes.
If they use it comfortably, they will return there. They'll grow up there. They'll spend their adolescence there, and they will spend as much as necessary, if they're capable of doing so. They'll spend their adulthood there. They won't migrate. Wonderful. Love to see the photos, and I always enjoy hearing from you, John.
Okay. You take care.
You bet. There we go. I always we always have a good conversation with John. He's a real wildlife guy. 47 after the hour. Let's talk now to Alan. He's calling from Tallahassee. Good morning, Alan. What's up with you, sir? Good morning.
Good morning, O'Neill. I need you to come on down and go brim fishing with me,
I know.
They sure are biting right now. We went yesterday, and within an hour and a half, we caught 30 easily. These big shell crackers right now.
Oh.
I mean, O'Neill, they're bigger than your hand.
Oh, those shell crackers. And they're good eating, too.
Oh, they're excellent eating. We had actually, once you get it in the boat, old boy I go with, he's got a pair of cooking tongs that you have to pick them up with to get your hook out their mouth because you can't get your hand around them.
Oh, yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that a shell cracker and a brim doesn't grow to 10 or 12 pounds, because he would tear the transom out of the boat. He's a real fighter.
I see on one of the magazines or one of the websites where a guy caught one that weighed almost 3 pounds. Can you imagine that?
No.
I mean, it would be like catching a 10-pound bass.
That's right. Well, there was a lake that I used to visit years ago in North Carolina, and it was a perfect, there's a lot of good reasons why, but it was a perfect bass fishing lake. Perfect. And because of the way they fed them and the way they managed the waters and so on and so on. And one of the results of the management, there were so many bass, big bass, that the bass ate most of the brim. So the brim were not very many of them, so their food source for the brim was plentiful. And the lake record for brim in that lake was 3.5 pounds.
Unbelievable.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, one thing I was going to ask you, O'Neill, do you ever fish Grandview or Lake Tamarack that's right there by your house?
I do not.
Because I was wondering if those lakes are any good.
I don't know. There's a couple of lakes that you're not supposed to be on up here. But no, I have not fished Grandview. If it's well managed, it's got good water. So if it's well managed, I imagine it's just full of fish.
Was it a private lake?
I think it's a landowner lake. Yeah, lots and so on.
Okay.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is.
So, talk about taking kids fishing. When the girls were growing up, were they into fishing and hunting?
A bit. My youngest, Allison, I did some shows with her. I did some television shows with her, and she's a natural athlete. Both of my children, both of my girls are both natural athletes. They get it from their family. And we didn't do a great deal of fishing together, but we did some and enjoyed it very much. That's for sure. Allison and I used to go to Lake Lanier often.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we always talk about kids, taking kids fishing, and I thought about the girls. Were they much into fishing,
Mm-hmm. Well, regrettably, Alan, during those years when I did so much fishing, I got to tell you, that was a 7-day-a-week job to produce a television show. And so I can't imagine, how these pro fishermen have any kind of, home life, because they're on the road all the time. Oh, yes.
And if they're not on the road fishing, they're either trying to get sponsors or, without their sponsors, they're not doing anything anyway.
That is correct. That's why you see often, and I have seen it many times, that someone will win a bass tournament or two, or even sometimes, and it's been done before, someone will qualify and win the Bassmasters Classic. Then he stops fishing and does promotions for sponsors, and he quits fishing so much,
right,
and he loses his talent. He loses his touch, if you will, to be a continued successful tournament fisherman. It changes, but that's why also you see people like Rick Clunn, Kevin Van Dam, Edwin Evers, Roland Martin, Bill all those people, they keep fishing, and that's where they're so good.
Well, like I say, I wish you'd come down, because the way we fish is we put a line stop on, and then a bead, and then a half-ounce slip weight, football shape, another bead, and then a swivel, pretty much like your Carolina rigging.
Right.
And then off that, you put about 14 inches, and we drag a cricket over the beds, or either over the hard shell. Don't use a float, but it's something else right now with these big old shell crackers.
They are indeed. They are indeed very, very aggressive. You are correct, and you can get them to bite. And I hope you. Let's see, how many did you catch the other day? Then I got to go. You caught how many?
I caught 25 myself in an hour and a half.
Good deal.
They're just unbelievable. But if you go take a kid fishing, it's the best fish to go fish for, or maybe even catfish. But don't waste your time trying to take a kid bass fishing.
Oh yeah, hey, it doesn't matter about the size of the fish.
Too quick.
Remember, and then I got to go. The most beautiful sight in the world is the hole in the water where the cork used to be. I'll be back. It's 57 after the hour. This is O'Neill. We've got a couple of calls we need to wind up. They've been holding on quite a while. Here's Wade. He's calling from Kentucky. Good morning, Wade. Are you there, Wade?
Si habla español, por favor, señor. So, yes, sir.
You're the greatest, man.
What's up, boss?
It's just a regular Saturday morning. How about you?
You do know it ain't 4 o'clock up here. What are you doing on the radio?
I don't know who created this, but I hate him.
No, you don't. You like me. You be done before daylight and you go hunting or fishing.
That's right. I'm trapped. I can't get out of it now. I'm trapped.
Catch 22.
Yeah, isn't it the truth? I'm glad you called. It's always good to hear your voice.
I'm feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. I'm
coming out of the shadows.
Yeah, I'm glad. I can tell you're better.
I'll be about 5 miles from you in about 4 hours.
Okay, headed this way, huh?
I'm going to Billy's. You know where I'm going.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Hurricane 129, Hurricane Creek in Etowah.
There you go. Well, I'm glad. I hope you have a safe. I hope you have a safe. I hope you have a safe trip, sir.
Oh, we're gonna put the corn, pumpkins, watermelons. We're gonna plant some for the turkeys and the deer next spring.
Good for you. Well, it's time, and we're going to talk more about that sort of thing and the preparation for the deer season and the food plots and all those things. We're going to talk more about that in the second hour of the show. You have a good trip, pal. It's always good to hear from you.
Hey, look, I got to tell you something.
Hurry.
Look in the mailbox about Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
I got you hunting and fishing regulations from Kentucky, and I got you some pictures of my daddy and Clifford Kraft, and you look just like my daddy.
Okay. I'll look forward to that, pal. I got to go right now.
I can't wait.
There we go. I'm sorry, Wade. I had to go. It's Kay, hold on through the break. I'm sorry. Couldn't get to you. This is O'Neill. Another hour of outdoors headed your way.
O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. Works Power and Garden Tools. Toyota, let's go places. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. Big Green Egg, the most popular and most versatile ceramic grill. Huff Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Year One, classic car parts for American muscle cars. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait. Furminator, the best food plot implement on earth. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and State Parks.
From Black Powder headquarters and the Bojangled studio at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains, it's time for O'Neill Outside. For anything in the outdoors, this is your source. Listen in and call the show with your comments or questions. And now, here's O'Neill.
And welcome back to the second hour of O'Neill Outside. We'll forget our traditional opening right now because she's been holding on quite a while. Let's talk to Kay from Decula, and then we'll get all the self-promotion in a few moments. Good morning, Kay.
Well, good morning, O'Neill. I just wanted to let you know, well, there's several things. One of them is I miss Gail. I think she added to the show as well, and I just miss her.
Yeah,
I
well,
know she's
me
there,
too.
And she's lazy and does not want to get up.
She's a lazy heifer is what she is, and she will not get up in the morning. She has trouble managing sleep. She was up. She was awake when the show started this morning, but now I went upstairs to get coffee a moment ago, and she's asleep again. So she just can't manage that right now.
She's smart, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I can't sleep myself, and
okay.
I got used to listening to you on Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the misfortune, I've lost my sight to glaucoma.
Oh, I see.
So, and I'm alone now. My husband passed away, so kind of got double trouble. But I make it. I love the radio. I've listened to WFB ever since I've moved up here in 1973.
Okay.
And I used to be a big Ludlow fan. I was one of his wackos.
Oh, were you? Yeah, Ludlow Porch.
Yeah, I was dynamite.
Were you? Yeah, his name was his name was Bob Hansen.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
I had the pleasure of meeting him, and he was quite a guy.
Yes,
we really enjoyed him. I followed him for a number of years and got a number of his books signed.
Oh yeah, he was. I tell you, he was always a pleasure because he was really smart.
Oh yeah,
he's really a smart guy.
Yeah, he was, and I miss him, but he's in a better place.
You bet.
Done some suffering too, but life goes on.
You bet.
And you have to keep treading along, and if it wasn't for the Lord, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't make it.
I want to talk to you.
Some of the neatest.
I want to talk to you further and more often, but I got to go right now, Kay. Please call back. It's 8 after the hour. This is O'Neill. 12 after the hour, we'll set aside the disgusting self-promotion for later in the program. Let's go ahead and talk to Mac. He's calling. Good morning, Mac. What do you say, sir?
Good morning, O'Neill.
Well,
how you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I see you have a brand new sponsor for your truck and all that. And man, oh man, you are just hot stuff.
Well, I'm very fortunate to be able to partner with Jim Ellis, and they're great local business, really support the community, and we're going to spread the word about that. Got some pretty neat stuff coming down the pike here, so be watching the Facebook page for that.
Good deal. All right, tell me what's going on. What recommendations do you have for us today?
Fishing's been good. We're in that transition period, we're definitely moving into summer. You can see the fish, both species, spots and stripers, are moving into more summer-like patterns, deeper water. We still got some shallow fish. I think we still have some bass trying to spawn on this last full moon here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a few, but still, it's more. There's a gravitation to offshore stuff. Humps, long tapering points, a lot of fish in brush. Still a good topwater bite, but soft plastics are probably the more consistent thing. A robo worm or a shaky head's going to be hard to beat, but topwater's still worth trying, depending on the weather and just the structure you're on. But if they don't respond to topwaters and moving baits, a worm on a shaky head's going to be hard to beat. Striper fishing's it's more the downline bite's probably the most prominent thing. There's a good umbrella bite pulling rigs over humps. That's been solid. And if the wind gets up, or in the case of the weekend, boat traffic starts beating you up, you can still pull that rig even when it gets sloppy. So a few stripers still willing to come up out of maybe 15 to 20 foot water over humps. You can still catch a few of those on the top water too.
I had opportunity and occasion this week. I was at a sporting goods store, and a fella came up to say hello, and we talked about striper fishing, and I had an opportunity to tell him about the last time you and I fished together in the summertime, about how deep you can catch stripers.
Yeah.
Remember that?
How deep the lake is. I remember you caught one on a white spoon in 98 feet.
Right, 98 feet deep. So my point is,
go ahead.
Summertime.
Yep.
Fish aren't shallow.
Nope. And in our lake, the only limitation is the bottom.
Exactly.
I mean, the reason you caught that fish in 98 feet, the bottom was 99. He couldn't go any deeper.
That's exactly right.
I mean, we dropped it to the bottom. That's reality. But no, that's we're definitely going that way. Most of the stripers being caught now, I think, are coming out of probably 30, 35 feet over a 30 to 50 foot bottom, but that will get deeper as we move further into summer and the water heats up, which is really starting to happen now. We hit 80 degrees this week.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That sounds
if you look back at a long, like a 20 or 30 year average, we usually hit 80 degrees right around June 1st. So that's pretty much par for the course. That was June 5th. So yeah, that's right on schedule.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mac, and now reintroduce Mac to everybody. He's been a guide on Lake Lanier for how long now? 40 plus?
40 plus.
40 plus years. Do you ever have, and how often, people will reach out to you and say, I learned to fish this lake because of my trips with you?
Oh, absolutely. And that's really gratifying when I talk to somebody that says, we learned this from you, or we've been doing what you showed us and expanded on it. A lot of guys take it and move it to the next level. So yeah, that's really, for me, that's really satisfying to hear that. If I help somebody catch a fish, man, that's makes it all worthwhile right there.
Oh, indeed. And I often make the point when you're calling is that when you and I have details about Lake Lanier, your home lake, which is 37,000 acres of actually, Lake Lanier is a mountain lake, is it not?
Yeah, I think it is. Yes.
It's not a flatland lake; it's a mountain lake.
No, it's not a lowland reservoir for sure.
Okay, and it's clear.
I would lump it with the mountain lakes.
Basically, it's clear water mountain lake.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that you and I talk about, the lessons that you give me, the lessons that you remind me of, can be applied for northern Alabama, East Tennessee, western South Carolina, and western North Carolina, and Virginia and Kentucky, right?
Absolutely, no question.
And
I've talked to anglers from all those areas, and we send a lot of product to those areas. And yeah, there's a lot of parallels plots.
The fish don't know where they live.
They they don't have a zip code. No, they don't know. It's that's a good point though, Neil. The parallels. There's a little bit of difference in weather between somewhere like Virginia and here. They're a little bit behind us, maybe. Their water's maybe in the 70s up there, but still the same basic patterns, same baits, same techniques, same general trends will apply. And sometimes I'll talk to somebody off one of those lakes, and they'll be doing exactly what we're doing.
Yeah,
I'll bet what's going on here. Yeah, it's amazing how often that happens, actually.
All right, are you going to fish today? You've got clients?
No, we had a little electrical gremlin get in the boat. We got to do a little troubleshooting today. So we're going to have to play mechanic a little while.
Oh, I understand. Mac, I'm glad you called. The audience always learns something.
Well, I hope so. And like we alluded to earlier, hope we say something that catches everybody an extra fish now and then. That just makes it all worthwhile. So everybody go out there and get them.
That's a point I like to make. Then I promise I'll shut up. The things that you and I talk about, the things that I discuss with you and other people, and the suggestions that we make they won't change you from catching 2 fish to 50 fish. It'll change you from catching 2 fish to 5.
That's a good point. And I agree with you 100%. It's not a light switch where I'm going to sink the boat, I caught so many.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all those little things in the aggregate will add up to catch you more fish.
You're
bet. Right, but it's steps.
Thanks for calling, Mac. Have a great weekend. Say hello to your family.
All right, everybody do the same. Go get them.
You betcha. All right, I'll see you later, pal. Hey, let's talk. We've got time. He's very efficient. Let's talk to Mark down in Camden County. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, O'Neill. How are you doing?
Good. Where are you headed today, sir?
I'm heading up to Doughboy Sound, casting at some puggies on the way up, and fish for Spanish mackerel and kingfish today.
Oh, man, those are really aggressive, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. My wife had a 57-inch 35-pounder up there last Saturday. We had 5 more from 18 to 25 pounds.
Wow.
Second largest fish we caught last Saturday actually aired a bait out while I was letting it out, and you know what that means, what a skyrocket is. He took the bait up into the air probably 20 feet while I was still holding the rod.
That's exactly right. Good for you. What an exciting trip.
Yep. I had a discussion with a young man the other day that got me to thinking about you, and it's along the same lines of what you were just talking about with Matt. He was talking about how fantastic a couple of our drops were here last year on this general week and time. And I explained to him, I said, look, let me go to my truck, get my little black book, and let's see what the conditions here were last year at this time.
Uh-huh.
Our water temperatures right now are roughly 3 degrees cooler than they were last year at this time.
Okay.
It was 82.1 degrees. Right now we're looking at about 78.1.
Uh-huh.
And I tried to explain to the young man, look, fish do not have a calendar in their back pocket.
No.
Seasons are a general indicator of what should be happening, but the fish are going to respond to the conditions.
Yep. They are products of their environment.
That's right. This year our spring has been a little cooler, a lot cooler actually, and air temperatures, water temperatures been cooler. And fortunately for us, we get our good late spring fishery will get to last a little bit longer. The Gulf Stream will be good until the middle of June this year.
Good
Last year, by this time, it was done.
You should. I bet you get a big. I got to go in a minute here, but I bet you get a big kick out of taking people that don't go fishing very much.
I'm taking one of my old high school classmates today, and this is the second time I've seen her since we graduated. Taking her and her husband, and they've never been before.
Oh man, what a great trip for them!
Yep, we're gonna have a blast. And I sent you a picture of my wife's kingfish from last Saturday. It's on your messenger on your Facebook.
Great, I'll look forward to that. I got to go right now, pal. Hey, have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.
You
yes,
you got it planned out, and I'm proud for you.
Have a good weekend,
you
brother,
bet.
and I'll talk with you again.
Thank you, Mark. I'll see you soon, pal. This is O'Neill. And unless I get surprised, we'll be back. The telephone numbers, if you'd like to telephone and be in part of the program, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255 worldwide. I want to talk to Henry, and then we have the radio prize package. So let's talk to Hank the Yank. Here he is right here. What do you say, Fat Pal? Did I get
Good
Hank
morning.
the Yank? Are you awake?
I got to. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I
can. You can hear me. Are you sure you can hear me? Okay, good.
I wonder sometimes, but yes.
I don't know why you would want to hear me. That's the
true.
question. Oh boy.
That comes up.
Listen, if the folks on the radio could hear some of our conversations on landlines that we have,
I know
they could make it could be a comedy hour.
Right.
It would be some funny stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's true. It's true. We have a lot of good laughs off the radio.
You betcha.
Well, listen, I'm going to give you one word for the fly fishing report for the first week in June.
Okay, I'm ready.
One word, and the word is diverse.
Okay. Ooh.
There is so much going on right now in North Georgia. Anglers who want to fly fish in North Georgia. Just to give you a quick rundown of what's going on, you can fish for stripers way up the Chattahoochee River at Unicoi Outfitters in Helen. They've got stripers up there that you can wade fish to if you're interested. You can stay up in the North Georgia mountains and fish for the wild trout. The small wild rainbows are feeding really, really well right now in the small North Georgia streams. And these are not big fish. These are fish that are anywhere from 3 to 9 inches. But the wild trout fishing, these are stream-born fish here in the South. That fishery is doing really well. The guys fishing the Unicoi private waters in the Coochie Bend and the Pay and Play and the Soquee, the Toccoa River, all the North Georgia trout streams are fishing just fantastic right now. I had a friend this week that went and fished Jones Bridge down on the Chattahoochee here in town, and the blue wing olives were coming off. They were actually dry flies. It's June, so the afternoon dry fly hatches are starting to come off. So the trout fishing in North Georgia is great. I had a friend yesterday who went carp fishing on the Chattahoochee with his daughter, his 18-year-old daughter. She caught a 25-pound carp on the fly yesterday. 25 pounds.
I hope she took a lot of photos.
It was unbelievable to see this carp. We got some great photos. We got really great photos. I myself was out yesterday bass fishing Lake Lanier because this is the time of year where if you're a fly rodder, you get the opportunity to catch bass on topwater. So I was out with a small 7-weight fly rod and a little popper, and I fished maybe 2.5 hours. I raised 12 spotted bass on the fly, landed 8 of them. And so just a fantastic, we have such a diverse fishery here in North Georgia, and June is the time of year where you can just pick and choose what you want to do based on the conditions that you have. So if they're releasing water, then obviously you got to be careful in the rivers. But if the waters are dirty, you're not going to fish the river. So you just got to look and see, what you're going to be able to do. But you just have a monster diversity this time of year.
Terrific, great report.
So that's what's happening in North Georgia.
That's a great report.
Yeah, it's just going on. June is great for North Georgia. June is really a wonderful time in North Georgia especially if you're a fly fisherman.
You bet. And the same temperatures and water conditions hold true for the Carolinas, even as far north as Kentucky and East Tennessee and northern Alabama, and it all applies.
It all applies. If you're a fly angler and you're in any of those areas, especially I have friends in North Carolina and Tennessee. They are just like we can't catch the stripers in Lake Lanier right now, and most of the fly anglers in North Carolina and Tennessee are laying off the muskie on fly this time of year. But everything else applies: carp and bass and you name it. It all applies. Trout. I mean, it's just a great time of year to be alive in North Georgia or anywhere in the Southeast for that matter. If you want to bring a whippy stick with you and start waving that whippy stick around.
That whippy stick. You're the greatest, man. Are you going to fish today? And then I got to go.
All right, buddy. Saturdays it's gotten a little too crazy on Lake Lanier.
I'm sure.
Neil, last weekend I went out, and I have to tell you, there was an angler on every point that I went to fish. Every single point that I came out of the south end of the lake and started riding north, and I just said, all right, I'm going to go here. I went over there, and there was already a boat on it. And I said, well, I'll go over there next. And I went over there, and I couldn't get a point to myself. So I'm just going to take today off and roll.
Good idea.
I'm actually finishing up the editing of the book today. I'm on my last chapter, and it'll be done.
I can't wait to see that. Wait to see that.
It's pretty good. It's all finished. It should be. I'm not sure if it'll be ready. The publisher says either the end of this year or early next year. The pandemic has thrown a wrench in slowing things down, according to them. But we're getting there.
You bet.
And of course, what you said to Mac, O'Neill. What you said to Mac, the greatest line ever. Fish don't know where they live. That is a quote in the book from Mr. O'Neill Williams.
I'll be looking so forward to reading it, really. All right, anyway, my good friend.
All right, well, look, everybody have a safe weekend. You take care, and we'll speak to you next week.
You betcha. I'll look forward to that. See you later, pal. And let's do that right there. Okay. Now, time for the radio prize package. Here are the rules. You have to be 18 years old, and you cannot have won a radio prize package before. Here is what you can win, the first caller with the correct answer. A Bojangles gift card, a Swaggerty sausage gift card, a Realtree hat and decal combo, a Big Green Egg koozie kit, an Angler magazine, DNR rigs, Georgia State Parks Guide, a can of Fisher's Choice baits, a selection of True Turn tackle, an Arctic Ice travel pack, a moon phase clock forecaster, very important, and a HydroShot glass. And here's the question. Ready? Now, we talk almost every week about Cajun Vista Lodge in Louisiana. I'm going there this October, as being the best inshore saltwater fishing on the coast of the United States. That's my opinion. The owner and a good friend of mine died in a plane crash in August of 2019 on a fishing trip. What is the question? What was his name? He's my friend. What is his name? Okay, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. The first correct answer wins the radio prize package. Now let's talk to, let's see, make this thing work. Let's talk to Larry. He's calling from Morrow. Good morning, Larry.
Morning, O'Neill. How you doing?
Good and great. What do you got to say this morning?
Now, I wanted to ask a question. It hasn't got anything to do with fishing.
Okay.
I know about fishing, but I want to know if there's any way, I knew I could count on you. If there's any way to dig up in your archives recordings of Milo Hamilton and Ludlow Porch. Because I got a dispute with a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't, and if I hear their voice, if it's just a clip, then I'll be able to determine which is which.
You might be able...
Does that make sense to you?
It does. You might be able to telephone the people at WSB Radio, and they may have...
Right.
They may be able to help you, yes. It'd certainly be worth a try.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to Oconee. I'm going down to Wallace Dam. I've never been to... I think it's Wallace Dam.
Yes.
It's southern... At Lake Oconee, they got a nice campground. I'm going to check it out.
Good for
you.
you.
Ever been there?
I have not. I fished around the dam, but I haven't camped there.
Well, these people got me all messed up. I don't even know where the stripers are right now, and the white bass. I don't know if they're spawning or... It seems to me this June's when they spawn.
No, they spawn...
The white bass, striped...
They spawn in April. When you look outside and you see the dogwoods blooming, then that's when the stripers and white bass are spawning. Yeah. When the dogwoods bloom in April.
That's what I thought about. I hear people catching that fly fishing when you just talk to. He says they're up in the river.
Yes.
And I thought this time of year that all the big stripers and the big hybrids and that type of thing was headed towards the deep water down at the dam.
Well, it's both, but the ones that will go up the river are in the river because of the cool water. So they're spread out all over, but if you got stripers up in the river, it's because of the cool water and the bait supply.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go anyway because I just want to see. If I'm on the water, I'm happy.
Just go anyway.
Catch fish, well, that's just... Yeah. So thank you, O'Neill. You said to call who to get my information?
Call the radio station. Number. Call the radio station at WSB Radio in Atlanta. Cox Media Group. Look up in a telephone book or whatever. Look up on the internet. Look up WSB Radio, and they may be able to have some old recordings of the Ludlow Porch show.
And Milo Hamilton.
Could be. I'm sure they do.
Okay, O'Neill, I don't want to tell you if I know you're a busy man. Thanks for your information.
You bet. I'll see you soon now. There, sorry, we need to go to a break. This is O'Neill, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. We got the radio prize package question out there about what is the name of the man who founded and fished with me so often at Cajun Vista Lodge. His name, he's got a Cajun name. Give us a call. We'll be back. Welcome back, that is. 40 minutes after the hour. We've got the radio prize package question to tidy up here, and then we'll get to our other call. So the question was, the owner, operator, and good friend of mine who started and managed and made success at Cajun Vista Lodge in Barataria, Louisiana. Let's talk to Pam for a moment here. Pam, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Just fine, thank you. And what is that gentleman's name?
Theophilus Bourgeois? Is that how you say his name?
That's close enough. It's he was a prince of a fellow, outstanding fisherman. He's really smart, a great businessman, and unfortunately, he died in a plane crash on a fishing trip. And I will tell you.
Oh, how sad!
Oh, yes, indeed. I'm going to go back there, and he died last year. But the fishing is still great. You might be interested. It always is to me. His name was Theophilus Jean Antoine Bourgeois III.
I was halfway there.
Isn't that terrific?
It's a beautiful name. My husband and I watch Swamp People. We have since the very first episode years back. Mm-hmm. So we love hearing some of the names of the people who live out there.
Oh, indeed. And people called him Tophil. And Tophil's son is named, and who operates the business now, Theophilus Jean Antoine Bourgeois IV.
The fourth. Oh, they're going to keep it going.
You betcha. And he's a great guy
thank
also.
Thank you so much.
Well, listen, we've got your information, I presume.
You do? And I have to compliment you.
Thank you.
My husband listens to your show a lot. He'll be lifting weights. I'll be cooking. You talk so nice to the people who call in. You sound like you try to make everybody feel like they're giving you the most interesting information you've ever heard. You're really good at that.
Well, you're very kind to say that. Well, one of the things, this is just, that helps me with that, this is just fishing and hunting. This is not serious. I'm not a paramedic. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a policeman. I'm not a firefighter. I don't do anything important.
But you make people happy.
Those people are heroes. So what I do, I think, can be looked at as almost being flippant. And if you listen to the program or watch the television show, when it's over, hopefully you might be able to say, well, I'll be darned, I didn't know that. I've got to do that next time.
Well, thank you so much, and I enjoy listening to you as he's listening to you.
Thank you. And we'll get your prize package to you in the next couple of weeks.
Well, thanks a lot. You have a great day.
You bet. Thank you so much. There we are. All right, it's 43 after the hour. Let's talk to Ricky. He's calling from Athens, Georgia. I hear there's a college close by.
Oh, yes, sir. Go Dogs. Good morning, O'Neill.
Good morning.
I just wanted to reach out and thank you again for reminding us that we don't need to take ourselves too seriously. You said the word flippant the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just a little while ago. See, I'm losing track of time already. This doggone coronavirus has everything all fouled up.
Oh, yeah. We'll get over it.
What I wanted to... Oh, yes, sir. And I think one of the best ways is to get people outdoors.
You bet.
Get them outdoors. Get them out of the house. They're going nuts.
Indeed.
And one of the things we can do, I learned from the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, today is Free Fishing Day in Georgia.
Yes, it is.
And according to the Georgia DNR, we do not need to have a license this time, just for this one day. Now, tomorrow, you probably better get one.
You betcha.
But what an opportunity. And I just wanted to do what you do and say, take a kid fishing today. There's no better chance. If there's listeners out there that don't have a license, and maybe that's the reason they haven't gone yet, today's the day.
That's right. And you know something, if you take a child fishing today on this free day, which is terrific, one of the things to remember is you don't have to catch a 20-pound largemouth or a 40-pound striper. A 2-inch brim will work just fine, just so you're fishing and you're together.
So important. Thank you for reminding us of that. We appreciate you, O'Neill.
You bet. Glad you called, pal. Have a great weekend, Ricky.
You too. Thank you.
You bet. There you are. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. We've got the Medal of Honor coming up in a few minutes. Let's look at my time here. And I'm in good shape right now. We'll do that. Corey, as soon as I get done with this, let's dive into the Medal of Honor. And that is, I got a couple of fishing tips here, all right? Number one, when you're deep water summertime fishing and you get a bite in deep water and he gets off, don't reel up so fast. Leave your bait down there. I guarantee you that fish was not alone. He was with a school of fish, and the other fish were likely trying to get that out of his mouth anyway. So when he gets off the hook, if you'll leave your bait there for another 5 or 6 seconds, you're likely to get another bite. Your natural tendency is, if he gets off, is to reel up and drop down again. Don't. Stay there. Okay? Now, back to what Ricky had spoken about. One of the things you need to know about when you're going fishing and hunting, you need to know what the laws are. Limits, lengths, places you can fish, places you cannot fish, where you can hunt, where you cannot hunt. It's up to you to know and obey the laws. So, okay, let's give this a try if we can. If we could begin our operation here for the Medal of Honor, it'll be my pleasure to start that.
Honor, courage, and strength of character. These qualities are embodied by the recipients of the Medal of Honor. Now let's recognize this week's Medal of Honor recipient on O'Neill Outside.
Okay, Staff Sergeant Ron Schurer, June 6th. Okay, Schurer was part of an assault element inserted by helicopter into a location in Afghanistan. He was engaged by fierce enemy machine, sniper, and rocket-propelled grenade fire. As the attack intensified, Schurer braved enemy fire to move an injured soldier and treat his wounds, when he then learned of the casualties among the lead element. Staff Sergeant Schurer fought his way up the mountainside under intense enemy fire to the lead team's location. He treated 2 more soldiers, then he noticed 2 more severely injured soldiers, and so with complete regard for his own life, he again moved through enemy fire to treat and stabilize those soldiers, one of which had almost lost his lower leg from the intense battle. Now, after treating the soldiers, he began to evacuate the wounded, carrying and lowering them down the sheer mountainside. Reaching the base, Staff Sergeant Schurer set up a casualty collection point and continued to treat the wounded, and then he rejoined the fight. He continued to lead his troops and emplace security elements until it was time to move to the evacuation landing zone for the helicopters. Staff Sergeant Ron Schurer, U.S. Army, Afghanistan. He died May the 14th, 2020. 49 after the hour. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. You can visit, if you will go to o'neilloutside.com, the website. There you can purchase my book, and maybe you'll have some interest in that. I will sign it for you. But the point of mentioning that is you can watch all the television shows there just like you can on all the VOD networks. But more importantly, in the center of the website page there, you can notice an emblem of the Medal of Honor. And you can read those accounts of these true heroes. Indeed, guys that lost their lives, risked their lives for their fellow soldiers in the continuing fight for American freedom and democracy. And without them, I doubt, well, they're very valuable and they're heroes. So, 50 after the hour, we'll get, the telephone numbers for the show are 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Evidently, I got too much sleep last night. So I would appreciate your calls, and I hope you enjoy the Medal of Honor. And the reason we do that is so that we can direct you to that sort of thing, that you can go to the Medal of Honor page and read the descriptions of those men and women, the officers, enlisted men, the privates, the sergeants, all those men who risked their lives from Vietnam all the way back to the Civil War and were awarded, you don't win it, awarded the Medal of Honor. And regrettably, I would have to tell you that, I'm just going to guess here and tell you that probably 50% of the awardees of the Medal of Honor died during the activities that they performed, whether it was Germany or Italy or wherever. I'm proud to say that I have several relatives who were in the service during World War II. And, if I might comment, we talk about the difficult times in which we live. I'm reading a book right now called 3 Days on the Brink, and it's about Winston Churchill, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and communist, my brain's gone soft, the fact that they got together and stopped Germany. If they hadn't done that, we would all be speaking German right now. And say again, Corey. But last night, I'll get to it in a minute. Last night, I stopped reading. When I closed the page before I went to sleep last night, about midnight, it was December the 5th, 1941. I know what's coming up next. Yeah, the Japanese, when they were in... I'm not going to get political. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. And if we've accomplished anything in this program, the television show, the podcasts that are available on Google and SoundCloud and Apple and all those places, maybe you'll be encouraged to go fishing and hunting, manage properties, and take children and your family fishing at every opportunity. That's why we do this. I'm going to tell you, it's not for the money. And I'll be back. Yeah, welcome back. I wish I could just stick with our singer there. Yes, indeed. Nessun Dorma. My favorite. Okay. But before we get to anything else, at 57 after the hour, we're about to conclude the program. Permit me a couple of tips, because it's summertime, fishing is changing, and some interesting ideas that I heard from some other guides. If the two of you are going fishing today and you're going to deep water, clear water lakes, where indeed many of the fish after first thing in the morning might move out to deep water. Here's an idea. When you first get started fishing today, one of you fish shallow and the other one fish deep. See, you're giving it a test in both directions. Secondly, if it's going to be a sunny day and you've determined that the fish are deep in a brush pile or in the top of a tree or something like that, be sure that the sun is in your face and the shadow of the boat is behind you and not over the tree or over the brush pile. The shadow of your boat may keep you from getting as many bites and catching as many fish as you probably could have. Again, I learned that from a fishing guide. And if the wind is blowing and the water is churning from the wind, you can catch more fish if you go to the bank and cast out into the wind and retrieve your bait with the wind in the deep water. Because, and I've seen underwater films of this, most of the game fish, even in deep water, face the wind, because that's the way the plankton and the whole food chain ends up with them. Some great tips, aren't they? Maybe listen to the program from time to time is worthwhile. This is O'Neill with Works Radio every Saturday morning, 4 to 6 a.m. I appreciate you joining me and all the calls. And by golly, you know something? We'll be here next week too. I hope you'll make plans to join us. Remember this, if you're too busy to go fishing and take a child along, you're too busy. I'll see you next week.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, "I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio." O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill Outside.